Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan. And week 2 is in the books. Guys, what are your thoughts?
Well, I kind of just want to start with. Let's just start with that Thursday night football game.
Let's start with games here.
I know, but I just want to talk a little bit about the game, itself. It's not just the game, it's the players in that game. Specifically talking about the Panthers, Cam Newton, coming off that shoulder injury, has not looked good. Ryan had a stat in a video that you're going to see in just a couple of days. I don't want to spoil it because it was a good stat, but it was concerning for Cam Newton. It's just not looking good for this Carolina offense, and really the entire NFC South. It's completely changed up after this week. I'll let you guys talk a little more about that.
Yeah, and in that game, Carolina's offense did not look good. Tampa won, but they were just more less bad than good. Atlanta rebounded, and then obviously the big news with Drew Brees being out for significant time. So the NFC South is certainly not what we would have expected it to be, say, 2-3 weeks ago.
I also just like to say congratulations to the NFL on beautiful Thursday night games to start off the season. 3 great ones we're going to have in a row as we have the Jaguars at Titans, which probably won't be a good game in probably all of our opinions. But
It could be close. But
yeah.
Even if it's close, it's the Titans and Jaguars.
There you
No
go.
offense to those teams, but those are not the best teams in the NFL right now.
and we'll get back to the Jaguars in a little bit to talk about a little bit of news that is recent with them. Let's get back to the NFC South, what we were talking about a little bit ago. So who wants to say something about that?
So we talked about the Saints. We talked about Drew Brees being out for 6 to 8 weeks with that finger injury. It did look kind of gruesome watching it. So that's going to be a big problem for the Saints. Buccaneers and Panthers, of course, they're just not looking very good. So to this point, that leaves it wide open for these Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it. They had not played very good in these past 2 weeks, and I know they beat the Eagles on Sunday Night Football, but that was just poor play on both sides. But I think with this division now, the Falcons, it's wide open for them to take it. No matter if they can play like they're playing right now, they can still win this division.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Saints' schedule real quick. They got to play sometime at least like about a month and a half without Drew Brees. They're going against some tough defenses: Seattle, Dallas, Jacksonville, Chicago. So we don't know exactly when Drew is coming back. The estimated time is 6 weeks, so maybe he'll be back by the start of November. We don't know because there could be sooner than expected, later than expected. But it's going to be really tough for the Saints. I know they got a lot of weapons, but just that quarterback position, and especially on that team, what he brings. It's going to be tough for the Saints to pull out the NFC South, but I think they can do it. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for the other video, but I have the Saints winning this week against the Seahawks.
Whoa!
Yeah, I know, I said it. They play the Bucks the next week. They can beat the Bucks. They play the Bears the next week. I hope the Bears win that game
No, you're.
for my sake.
It's like
It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
that?
it's
Sideways.
crisscross.
They don't play the
Okay.
Bears for a while.
Okay.
It's like boom, boom.
Oh, okay. They play the Jaguars, and they still don't have their starting quarterback. And then it's the Bears. And then it's the Cardinals. So, was I doing that correctly that time? Was that not
You forgot Dallas for the second.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about them. Dallas played
Dallas was looking good so
But
far.
I think they can get 3 wins out of the next 6 weeks, which is probably the minimum time that Brees will be out, according to sources. But I do think that the Saints can be able to pull it off. They have the talent on that team. Drew Brees is a great quarterback, but Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, the other wide receivers, they're iffy. Jared Cook, he's been doing all right. And that defense is not an awful defense. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Saints could do. And the Falcons have looked good, but Falcons sometimes get shaky at some points, and they're not consistent. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that division.
Yeah, and real quick, just looking at these next 6 games for them, at first glance, I see them going 3-3 in the stretch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say 4-2.
4-2.
Yeah.
I can see 3 and 3.
I see 3-3. I think they at Seattle, Dallas, and at Chicago. I think they lose, but I think they beat Tampa, the Jaguars, and the Cardinals.
I would agree with that. All right, let's go from one major injury to another. Let's go to the AFC North. Ben Roethlisberger out for the season. That's going to be a huge injury for him. You guys want to add on to that?
Yeah, obviously it's tough for Pittsburgh. They were already 0-2. They already had the game where they only scored 3 points, and they could not beat the Seahawks, although Ben just did miss a lot of time in that game. I know they have Mason Rudolph, but let's not forget the depth in the Steelers' QB room is now especially thin, because remember, Just last week, they traded Josh Dobbs to the Jaguars for a 5th-round pick, which at the time
Yeah.
might have seemed like a harmless, free 1st-round pick. But now with the injury to Roethlisberger, the Steelers QB room has gotten a lot thinner, and Rudolph has never really been an NFL starter for an extended period of time before. So really,
He did look okay in that
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
he
he looked all right. I'll give him credit for that. It's just he's a bit of a question mark, and if he doesn't pan out, they really don't have much else to do.
Yeah, and the Steelers' offense is always something that's been interesting. Even when they had Bell, even when they had Brown, they always had the weapons there, but it's whether they could put it all together. They're kind of around here, the Falcons, in the way, which we just talked about. They're just sometimes inconsistent. And, I mean, once you're inconsistent and you start losing pieces, that's where it really starts to go downhill. And you're already in a division with a Ravens team that's 2-0 and is looking hot. Now they haven't played the greatest teams in the NFL, but they're still looking good. The Browns, there's the hype around them. As we have them on the screen right now, we're watching it right now.
They're winning 6-0.
Yes.
At this point.
Good run by Chubb.
Wait.
Oh.
12-0. 12-0. Nick Chubb. Nice run.
Sorry.
It's a good distraction. You keep going.
Okay. So, AFC North, I always forgot where I was at. So, it's going to be interesting to see what the Steelers can do. At this point, I don't know if they're really expecting to win division. They're fighting for a wild card spot, or they're just fighting. Right, they're not fighting for a wild card spot. They're fighting for every game right now,
Yes.
which is what every team
Good
should be
point.
doing, to be honest. But it's
hope
going to be
so.
interesting to see what the Steelers can do. They still have Juju. They still have Connor. And their defense is all right. So
Yeah, it's just crazy how much has changed for the Steelers in such short period of time. Just a few years ago, the Steelers were known for the 3 Bs, and now I know one of
Yeah, I
them's
was
for an
just gonna
injury.
say that, yeah.
It's just changed so much in such a short period of time.
They've
You
gone
can go
from
with
3
4
Bs
Bs
to
there.
no
you
Bs.
could even have included Boswell on that. But
Oh yeah,
I've
Chris
given 4
Boswell.
Bs.
Oh, yeah? He's gone too.
He's not gone.
Oh,
He's
he's
still
not
there.
good? He's not good.
Hmm.
Sorry about that. All right. We have more news. This is the action-packed filled
Let's do the
Monday
Jaguars.
of news. That's where I'm heading right now.
Uh,
To the
that's-
Jaguars.
Okay,
Jalen
say
Ramsey.
it.
Jordan, go ahead.
Okay, nobody's gonna say it again. So I'll say the news. So I think Ryan would probably know more about me than this because this was in the Texans Jaguars game and he pays attention to that division more than I do.
Yep.
But I do know that Jalen Ramsey was frustrated with Doug Marrone for I'm not sure exactly what, but he also was complaining how they put him in zone coverage a lot. And previous game he played man coverage a lot, but he was complaining how they don't utilize him, kind of like the Minka Fitzpatrick thing that we have not talked about on this channel. We could get to that after this if we want to.
He has reasoning to believe that.
Yeah.
But he is not Minka. Well, Minka he did request a trade, but also Jalen Ramsey on top of that is also requesting a trade. He is not happy with the Jacksonville organization, and he wants out. What do you guys think about that?
You can go.
Well, I talked to Ryan earlier. I said, Ryan, you're lucky you're a Texas fan. You didn't choose any other team in the AFC South because it's all crumbling down. Starting with the Andrew Luck retirement. Of course, that happened. Although Jacoby Brissett has looked good as what we've seen so far. The Titans, I mean, they won week 1, but I think they're still going to be a mediocre team. And now the Jaguars, the injury with Nick Foles. And now this. I mean, this entire division is just falling apart. And I can't see Jalen Ramsey being on any other team. I feel like the Jaguars, I mean, it's going to be difficult if he does get traded. I feel like the Jaguars is a good team for him to stay on.
Well, what the Jaguars did say is that if they do trade him, they want a first-round pick and more. So it's gonna be interesting.
Teams always say crazy stuff like that, and then they let teams kind of work them down. I don't know if that's just me. I feel like that's the vibe we kind of get.
Yeah.
And I know you said that he's good on the Jaguars, but if he's really frustrated with the coach, I'm just saying the Eagles secondary has not looked good these first 2 games. We saw the Falcons. I
They
mean,
still have cap space, too, and they made a lot of
they
moves.
do. Even in the Washington game in the first half, they did not look good, and especially in that Sunday night game, too many times they allowed the Falcons to get
Well,
some
they got
deep
3
balls on them.
picks, but there was just bad quarterback.
They did, yes, but I just still am concerned about the secondary, and they're a team that I think has intentions to win now. So Jalen Ramsey to the Eagles, I think if it works out for both teams, I think a potential deal could get done there.
Mm-hmm. It'll be very interesting to see what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on to another team now. We're kind of just talking about news at this point, but this goes on from week 2. We saw Eli Manning. I mean, he played okay. It's Eli Manning, but the Giants are already getting ready for possibly Daniel Jones to be playing the rest of the season because of the play of Eli Manning. They're 0-2, Do you guys think that Daniel Jones should come in?
Not yet. Too early. I mean, I know we're in overreaction season. You know, week 1 people are like, okay, it's week 1, but then after week 2, it's like, oh my god, it's all set in stone. We got to freak out here. But I just don't think it's the right move. I mean, I know you're 0-2, but like you just got to play it out. You made the decision that you didn't want to start him right away. You made the decision to keep Eli. I just don't think it's the best thing to do to rush him into the fold, especially. I don't think he was NFL ready at the time he was drafted, so I think it'd be best to wait a little bit. Later this year, I'm fine, but just week 3 too early.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and this is not from me, I was actually watching NFL Network earlier today, and Kurt Warner said that he does not believe he should come in. He said that he was watching the film, and Eli Manning didn't really look too bad. And Eli Manning, he's not the greatest quarterback in the NFL. We're definitely can say that with great confidence, but he's not an awful quarterback. I mean, he's a veteran. He's smart. He knows how to play football. But besides Saquon and Evan Ingram, maybe, he doesn't have very many weapons around him to throw the ball to. I mean, he's trying to throw the ball to T.J. Jones. I don't even think Sterling Shepard's done anything. Has he even been playing? I haven't really seen anything from Sterling Shepard. And honestly, I can't name to you any more people on that.
Golden Tate's injured.
Golden Tate is injured.
Or not suspended, sorry, my bad, yeah.
I can't really name any other people on that team. I mean, I maybe name like a few defensive players, but I just think it is too early. I would love to see Daniel Jones come and play. I think it's always excitement to see.
Yeah.
What I think that, and I'm gonna rant again, as I ranted in the video that you're gonna see later, but you have the star on that team is Saquon Barkley. You got to give him the ball as much as possible. And I understand they might stack the box, but he knows how to run. He's a great runner. He will get past those guys, and once he gets that past the original line of people at the line, he has great speed and acceleration. He's going to take off and score touchdowns for you. He's already had 2 big plays already in 2 games on the touchdowns. So I don't know what you're doing over there with your hands, but I think you just gotta give him the ball and he'll do the rest. And of course you gotta throw the ball. You can't just keep running it. But yeah,
just run every single time.
I mean,
don't know about that.
No. All right. Let's talk about a little bit more about some of the games from week 2. Not talk about all of them. Just talk about something. Let's go to the very, very bottom, the deepest place you can be in week 2, and that is, of course, the Miami Dolphins.
Yep.
43-0.
Hashtag fish tank. It's happening.
Now everyone thought the Patriots were going to win this game. We all said it. Go watch our week 2 predictions, although it's kind of late for that. In case you want to see what our scores were, maybe you can just go watch it. But we all said that the Patriots were going to win that game. None of us expected that to happen.
Yeah, we went from the Miami Miracle to the Miami Massacre. So, well, you had 42-7, so you did expect a blowout. And didn't you say you picked up the Patriots defense?
Yeah, but
as soon as you saw. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that was a good movie. Yeah, I did not expect it to be this bad. Yes, the Patriots are a Super Bowl contender, but the Dolphins aren't going to be a very good football team this year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, early in the game they kind of hung in there, and I say that with air quotes. But then 2 pick six later, Patriots took the game away.
Mm-hmm. Another game to highlight is the Bears and Broncos game. That's crazy, especially you can see behind us. Or if you haven't been watching this channel, I mean, it's kind of obvious. Just look behind us. Me and Jordan on the other end of the table here, we're Bears fans. We're huge Bears fans. The stress levels watching that game were crazy. I'm sure you've seen it by now. I don't need to talk about it. But Eddie Pinheiro with a 53-yarder to win the game.
And a lot more craziness than just that.
Yeah. I mean, just go watch highlight videos of that game. Just the end of it it's incredible what happened. So, props to the Broncos, though. They did a good job on that final drive as well.
Yeah, so I just want to get your perspective as Bears fans on this. So, Denver scores a tying touchdown with an amazing catch by Emmanuel Sanders that kind of reminded me of Santonio Holmes in the Steelers-Cardinals Super Bowl. That's the first thing I thought.
Yeah.
And then they line up to go for 2. Before all the crazy penalties, what's your thought when they line up to go for 2? Are you happy? Are you just do you not want them to? You just want the game to go to overtime? What are your thoughts?
At that point, I'm just stressed out. I'm like, don't go for 2. Just kick the extra point because they score. Then it was we thought it was over. And then when they did score after, they ended up being a false start, and they had to kick. They were going to kick the PAT, and then he missed the PAT, but Buster Screen was offsides. So Then they went back and got it at the 1 yard line and got the 2-point conversion. At that point, we were just devastated.
Yeah.
And then they came back and won the game. It was crazy.
Yeah, our teams were kind of in similar situations.
They
you
were.
know, last Sunday. So it was kinda
I'll
fun.
tell you what, I was after that game. I was shaking. I was literally in tears. It was just emotional for a Bears fan, especially for me and Tyler, who are probably some of the biggest Bears fans, just in general. To be honest, we love the Bears, and especially what happened with the Eagles last year in the playoffs. It was almost a similar situation to that, and that's what made it so
Yeah,
special.
it was.
Because they had minimal time, they drove the ball downfield, and they actually made the field goal this time, and it was longer.
Yep.
So
It was.
it was an emotional experience
Uh-huh.
for me. We had me, Tyler, my dad, and our cousins, and my grandma all watching it together. And that once that field goal was in, it was like a screaming party in there. It was hugs, screaming. It was an atmosphere. I can't imagine how the players felt.
Yeah. All right, let's just go through a couple more teams here. Really quickly, we're just going to pound it out. Talk about some teams here that stood out in week 2. The Lions.
Yeah, they looked good, and honestly, I was really surprised with how they were able to shut down that Chargers offense, especially, Austin Eckler. He did have a touchdown, but he was coming off a really, really big game in week 1. They were able to shut him down enough. They stopped Phillip Rivers in that offense when they needed to most. They did a fairly good job of shutting down Mike Williams, and they just flat out beat the Chargers. I got to give it to them. They're impressed. The saying Detroit is undefeated is kind of strange in any sport, but we can say it now.
Yeah, they've. I mean, it's Detroit, and
They're not too
Detroit's never looked.
They're undefeated.
Yeah, they are. Detroit, it's not like we thought they were going to be awful coming into the season. I mean, Matthew Stafford, I've always not hit. People said Matthew Stafford sucks. I think he's a decent quarterback. Kenny Galladay, he's going to be a good wide receiver coming up. Marvin Jones is always a good number 2 guy. And TJ Hawkinson, he didn't do much this week, but he's a good tight end. And then that defense, it's gotten better. I don't really know what to say. So, Lions, good job to them. They've looked pretty good so far, and although they're not putting up many points, they're winning games. So, the W is all that matters in the end.
All right, one more team I want to highlight. The 49ers. 2-0 now. Playing the Steelers next week. It's going to be a little bit of tough game. But what do you guys think about the Steelers? Ryan, I know you're high on the Steelers. I'm sorry, the 49ers.
Just quick update before he says that. We were currently watching the Jets Browns game, and Trevor Siemian is injured. So
Luke Falk coming in. I want to say he was drafted by the Titans, then he ended up with Miami, and now he's obviously on the Jets. I think he went to Washington State. I don't know, but
just an update.
They'll probably rely on their one game.
Yeah.
more.
49ers.
We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but that's also something to talk about real quick.
Yeah.
Remember 49ers, but Sam Darnold, he's going to be out for a few weeks with
Oh,
mono.
Yeah, about
So that's going to have an effect on the Jets. But let's get back to the 49ers here.
Yeah, so I am high on San Francisco because I think that they're a team that the roster has been there, but the health has not. And I think now with Jimmy Garoppolo, he had a shaky start week 1, which is natural for coming off a big injury. But then I feel like in the second half of that game, and especially in week 2, he really put it together. The receivers are making plays. The defense is doing enough. And I said it pretty much all offseason that I thought San Francisco was a playoff team. And I know it's early, but they're looking like one right now.
All right, so I just wanted to highlight those 2 teams. There's a lot more good play that happened in the NFL these 2 weeks. Don't worry, we're not forgetting about your team. We just didn't talk about them today. We will talk about them all eventually. And
So, to be honest, we are forgetting about your team
Yeah,
today.
we're not forgetting about them. We're just not mentioning them.
Yeah.
And if you want your team to be mentioned, go watch our predictions video. That's going to be out in a couple of days from now. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell besides the channel on the side of the channel. It's very important. Comment down below, and we will see you guys later.
See ya.